Welcome to the course Compiler Design. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about continuation of predictive parser. So this is the last part of predictive parser. In our previous lecture, we discussed about how to compute first and follow values. So now the first and follow values are essential for construction of predictive parsing table. So now after constructing first and follow values, so now we will see how to construct predictive parsing table. Then another concept based on this predictive parsing table, which is called as LL1 grammar. So from predictive parser, how to define this LL1 grammar. Then finally, error recovery in predictive parser. So error recovery is occurred in all phases, even in lexical analysis also. We discussed even starting of this syntax analysis or parser. So various error recovery strategies are discovered. Now in predictive parser, how this error recovery is handled. So these are the topics we are going to cover. Now first let us move to construction of predictive parsing table. So now in the model of predictive parser, you can recall once we have one component predictive parsing table, which is a two-dimensional array. So denoted with so m of a variable comma a terminal. So here variables are row headings and terminals are column headings in the table. So now even we already discussed working of predictive parser by taking predictive parsing table. Now how to construct the table that we will discuss now. So now by using first and follow sets, so we can easily construct the predictive parsing table, and the productions are entered into the table with the respective entry m of a comma a. So where m is a two-dimensional array representing the predictive parsing table, and capital A is a non-terminal or variable which represents row values, whereas small a is a terminal. So also we'll use a dollar also, which is end marker, and represent the column values. Small a means any terminals in the given grammar, then dollar is additional. So these two represents the column values in the table. So now these are all the representation of m of a comma a. So now we are having one algorithm for constructing predictive parsing table. So let us see the algorithm. It's a very simple algorithm. So the algorithm is construction of predictive parsing table. Now for this, what is the input required? A grammar, a given grammar G. So whenever you are constructing predictive parsing table, you can recall once. These are all very important restrictions. The grammar does not contains ambiguity. The grammar does not contains left recursion. Then the grammar should be left factored. So if any of these all are presented in the grammar, then what you have to do? So you have to remove all those as per the methods we discussed during syntax analysis or parser. So now that is the input, the grammar G without left recursion, without ambiguity, then should be left factored. Then output is predictive parsing table M. Finally, the table is going to be constructed. Then coming to the procedure. So here for each production is of the form, let us say the general form. A derives alpha of the grammar G, apply the following rules. Every time you can assume the production is of the form, a variable A derives alpha. So now based on the alpha values, now the following rules are defined. So now rule 1, for each terminal small a, which is in first of alpha. So in the right hand side, we have alpha. You can find out first of alpha. So if a terminal a is occurred in first of alpha, then what we have to do? We have to add the production a derives alpha to the entry in the table, that is on the variable a, then terminal small a. So why you are considering variable a? The production starting with variable a. So that is the row value, row heading. Then the terminal comes under column value. So here small a is terminal. Therefore, the entry M of A on A in the table, you can add the production A derives alpha. So you can recall once the predictive parsing table, what it contains. So which is combination of any of the two values. One is a production or a blank entry. A blank entry means which denotes error. So now, other than these two cases, so no other values are included in the predictive parsing table. This is rule one. Simply you have to find out the right hand side first of value. If it contains any terminal on the respective terminal under column, so to the respective row variable A, you can add A derives alpha. Now coming to rule two, if first of alpha contains null, for each terminal B in follow of A. So whenever the right hand side alpha, its first value contains null, then what you have to do, you can find out the follow of the variable, left hand side variable. So follow of A, suppose follow of A contains a terminal B, then what you have to do, you have to add the production A derives alpha to with the respective variable A, then all the follow values, let us say small b. Suppose small b contains 3 follow values, then all that follow value under respective columns with the variable row heading capital A, you can add A derives alpha. So that is the rule 2. So if epsilon is in first of alpha and dollar is in follow of A. Now in this case also add A derives alpha to M of A on dollar as well. That means here same as rule 2. Epsilon is in first of alpha. Okay. Again, dollar is also in follow of A. Let us assume. Then you have to add A derives alpha to the respective column dollar also with the same variable A. So these are all the two rules. Very simple. So using these two rules, now we will construct the predictive parsing table. So here both rules you can observe. Here first and follow values are required. So that's why without first and follow values, we can't construct a predictive parsing table. So for any given grammar, first we have to construct predict first and follow values. Then using this algorithm, construct predictive parsing table. Now question will be given like this. This is very important in examination. So definitely we will get one question on this. So construct the predictive parsing table for the following grammar. So the grammar is E derives T dash, E dash derives plus T dash are null, T derives F T dash, then T dash derives star F T dash are null, then F derives E within parentheses are ID. So now here you can check out this grammar. So this grammar, so Dernas contains left recursion. So no left recursion. Every time you need to check the given grammar. No left recursion. Then no ambiguous. So this is not ambiguity grammar. Then no non-left factored grammar. So left factored means two or more alternatives having same common prefix. So no non-left factored. So that's why the grammar satisfying these three conditions. So directly you can proceed to construct predictive parsing table. Before constructing predictive parsing table, what you have to do after verifying these three restrictions, left recursion, ambiguity, non-left factored grammar, then what we have to do, we have to find out first and follow values. So in our previous lecture, we discussed the same example, how to construct first and follow values. So here directly I have taken first and follow sets for each non-terminal of the given grammar. So but in examination, first you have to find first and follow values, then you can list out in the table in the consolidated format. Then you can proceed for construction of predictive parsing table. Now, as for our previous class, for the same example, we obtained first and follow values for all the variables in the given grammar. Now, those values are listed here. So directly those values are taken. Now, with these values, now by using the predictive parsing algorithm, so we can build a predictive parsing table. Now here you can apply rule 1, rule 2 wherever applicable. So now here what we will do, first we will consider every production of the form A derives alpha. So then we compute first of alpha, and entries of the predictive parsing table can be done as shown below. So every time what we are doing in the right hand side alpha, first value we are finding. So if it contains terminal, then the respective terminal position under a column, then respective variable in the left hand side of the production under a row heading. So you can add the respective production. Whereas if first of alpha contains null, then you have to find out follow of the left hand side variable, then the respective follow values under respective columns, under respective row heading, you can add the respective production. Then if first of alpha contains null, then also dollar is in follow of A, then you can add under the column dollar also you can add the same production. That is rule 2. So now let us say here all are listed in the tabular format. So first we are taking the production comparing with the A derives alpha form. Then we are finding first of alpha. So let us say small a, that value. Then you are seeing the entry in the table. Then you are adding the respective productions in the entry. Then which rule is used? So that also mentioned here. Now the first production here you can see E derives T dash. So now here you can compare this one. This is A derives. Let us say T dash is alpha. So T dash is alpha means nothing but first of T dash. First of T dash is nothing but you can find out first of T. So first of T means again T is substituted with F. So then that is first of F. Therefore first of F equal to in the previous table left parenthesis ID. So we already demonstrated how to construct the first value. So similar fashion. Finally here first of T equal to first of F. So that is equal to left parenthesis comma ID. Now these are all the A values. Now in the entry in the symbol table, M of variable A comma terminal A. Now terminal A means here two values, left parenthesis comma ID. Then the variable A means the left hand side variable E. Now the entries, the first one is E on left parenthesis, the first terminal. You can add this production, that is E derives T dash. Then the second entry, same left hand side variable E, but second terminal ID. Therefore M of E on ID equal to same production, E derives T dash. So now these two entries are added into the table under the row value E, under the column value left parenthesis and ID. So these are all obtained according to rule 1 of this algorithm. Then second production, E dash derives plus T dash. Here you can see first of alpha. So here directly you will get plus. Plus is the first of alpha. Therefore A equal to plus. Now the entry M of E dash. Now the left hand side variable is E dash. E dash on the terminal A is plus. E dash on plus equal to this production you can add. So E dash derives T dash. Again this is rule 1. So then coming to E dash contains another production. E dash derives null. Here you can see first of alpha contains null here. So then you can apply rule 2. So according to rule 2, what you have to do, you can find out follow of E dash. So from the previous table, follow values, follow of E dash equal to right parenthesis comma dollar. Now in these two entries, so these are all nothing but values of B, the follow values, terminals. So now E dash on right parenthesis and E dash on dollar. In both places, you can add the production E dash derives null. So this is according to rule 2. So here you can see directly the follow of E dash contains dollar also as per the rule 2, the last point. So whenever first of alpha is null, then dollar is in follow of E dash, then you can add same production under the entry E dash and dollar. So that is also added here. Now this is rule 2. Now E dash productions are over. Then coming to next production. So next T productions you can consider. So the T productions are T derives FT dash. Now again here alpha means first of FT dash equal to first of F. So you will get left parenthesis comma ID. Now these are all terminal values. Now the left hand side variable is T. Now in the table entry M of T on left parenthesis, then M of T on ID. In both entries, you can add the production T derives FT dash. So according to rule 1. Then T dash productions, T dash derives star FT dash. So here first of star FT dash is nothing but star. So here directly we are getting terminal as the first value. Then the entry M of T dash on star. So what is the production? T dash dash star FT dash is added to the table in the entry T dash on star. So according to rule 1. Then again T dash contains null here. So therefore first of alpha is null. Then what you have to do, you need to find out fall of T dash. Then fall of T dash equal to, as for the previous first fall values, fall of T dash equal to plus right parenthesis dollar. Now in these 3 column values with respect to T dash variable as the row value, now T dash and plus the first follow value, then T dash and right parenthesis the second follow value, then T dash on dollar the third follow value. All these 3 entries you can add the same production, that is T dash derives null. So therefore T dash derives is null added to these 3 entries. This is according to rule 2. So then finally we are having F productions. So now F also contains 2 productions. The first one is F derives E within parenthesis. Now here first of this one is directly you will get left parenthesis as the first value. Now according to rule 1, then M of F1 left parenthesis, F1 left parenthesis, you can add the production F derives E within parenthesis according to rule 1. Then second production of F derives ID. So here ID is directed terminal, therefore first of alpha is a terminal. So now the entry M of F1 ID. So you can add F derives ID. So that is again according to rule 1. Now you can see all productions are completed. We applied whatever the rules applicable. So if first of alpha is a terminal, you can apply rule 1. If first of alpha contains null, you can apply rule 2. So by using rule 1 and rule 2 for all the productions, now we obtained the entries. Now in the table, you can fill all these entries. So here the first one is M of E on left parenthesis, add this production. Then E on ID, add this production, E derives T dash. Then E dash on plus, add E dash derives plus T dash. Then E dash on right parenthesis, add E dash derives null. Then E dash on dollar, add E dash derives null. Then similarly, so T on left parenthesis, add T derives FT dash. T on ID, add T derives FT dash. T dash on star, add T dash derives star FT dash. Then T dash on plus, add T dash derives null. Then T dash on right parenthesis, add T dash derives null. Then T dash on dollar, add T dash derives null production. Then finally, F on left parenthesis, add F derives E within parenthesis. F on ID, you can add the production F derives ID. Now by adding all these entries in the table, now you can see the predictive parsing table, final table. So the table structure, so all row values, you can include all the variables in the given grammar or non-terminals in the order. So first variable is E, second one is E dash, third one is T, fourth one is T dash, fifth one is F dash. Then all the column values, you can include all the terminals in the given grammar. In any order, you can include, no problem. So here ID is one terminal, plus is one terminal, star is one terminal, then left parenthesis, right parenthesis, and dollar. So dollar is also added in the column value. This is end marker, which is called as look ahead symbol. So in addition to all the terminals in the given grammar, additionally dollar is also included in the column heading. So now by taking all the values, so now E on ID. So let us see, you can go back and check one entry. Here you can see E on ID equal to E derives T dash. So this production is included here. Now here you can see. So E derives T dash is included. Then we have E on left parenthesis, E derives T dash. Then E dash on plus we are having E dash derives plus T dash. Then E dash on right parenthesis on dollar we are having the null production, that is E dash derives null. Then T on ID we are having the production T derives FT dash. So these values we are taking using the previous algorithm, whatever the 2 rules we applied for each and every production. So those values you can add. Then T on left parenthesis we are having T derives FT dash. Then T dash on plus we are having null production, T dash derives null. Then T dash on star we are having T dash derives star FT dash. Then T dash on right parenthesis and dollar we are having null production, T dash derives null. Then F1 ID we are having F derives ID. Then F1 left parenthesis we are having F derives E within parentheses. Now remaining all entries you can keep as it is blank. So you can't add anything. So that blank entry denotes error. So whatever the entry values obtained previously, those only you can include. Remaining all you can keep blank. So you can't add anything. So now this is the predictive parsing table. See how simple it is. First, after obtaining first and follow values, using the two-step algorithm for construction of predictive parsing table. So then we obtain all these values. Now this is the predictive parsing table. So this is a very, very important question. So here one practice problem also given. So construct the predictive parsing table for the following grammar. Even for first and follow values also we have given same practice problem. So this problem, this grammar consisting of left recursion, even it is non-left factored grammar. So even it is ambiguity also. So if you can remove left recursion, that is very simple to remove. Or if you can apply left factoring also, that is again very simple. So automatically all are eliminated. Then you can find out first and follow values. Then by using this predictive parsing table construction algorithm, you can find the entries in the table. Then you can add the entries in the table. So finally, you will get the resultant predictive parsing table. So now we'll move to our next concept, very important one, LL1 grammars. So by considering predictive parsing table, we can define this grammars, LL1 grammars. So how to define LL1 grammar? Let us see here. So the grammar from which a predictive parser, that is recursive descent parser without backtracking, is constructed is called LL1 grammar. So for any given grammar, there exists a predictive parser. That means recursive descent parser without backtracking. That means the grammar does not contain left recursion, does not contain ambiguity. Then the grammar should be left factored, then without backtracking. So by overcoming all this, a predictive parser is constructed. Then the grammar is said to be LL1 grammar. Now in LL1, let us see. So the meaning of LL and 1. The first L stands for left to right scan of the input. So in this, the first L stands for left to right scan of the input. Then the second L stands for leftmost derivation. Second L stands for a leftmost derivation. So the predictive parser always mimic means derivatives or imitate the leftmost derivation. So now in the top-down parser, we already discussed it. By default, leftmost derivation. So is considered as top-down parser. So the predictive parser also does the same. The second L stands for leftmost derivation. So the predictive parsers always follow or imitate the leftmost derivation. Whereas the digit 1 indicates number of input symbol. So minimum one input symbol is required to do parsing action. So the digit 1 indicates one input symbol of look ahead at each step of the parsing, which makes parsing action decision. So here compulsory minimum one input is required. So that means one look ahead means one token to do parsing actions. So this is the simple definition of LL1 grammar. The first L stands for left to right scanning of the input. Second L stands for leftmost derivation. Then the digit 1 indicates one input symbol of look ahead, which is used to make parsing action decisions during parsing. So now by comparing with the predictive parser, now see how LL1 grammar is identified. So in predictive parsing table, if there are no multiple entries, so now previously we constructed predictive parsing table. In any one entry, that means all the entries in the table, if there are no multiple entries, then the grammar is said to be LL1 grammar. That means now previously whatever the table we constructed, go back once and you can check. So now here you can see, first check the grammar. Now if you want to check a grammar is LL1 or not, so this question also will get an examination. So check whether the given grammar is LL1 or not. Means what we have to do, first we have to construct predictive parsing table. Then by seeing the entries in the predictive parsing table, So if it satisfies, there are no multiple entries in the predictive parsing table in any entry, then the grammar is said to be LL1 grammar. Otherwise, it is not LL1 grammar. Now this is the grammar. Now you can check is it LL1 or not. Then what you have to do? Let us see. First, the grammar does not contain left recursion, ambiguity, then non-left factoring, not allowed. So now this grammar, after removing all, this grammar already is in the form of so non-left recursive grammar, then no ambiguity, then it is left factored. Then what you have to do, you can find out first and follow values as usual. Then using the predictive parsing algorithm, you can construct the predictive parsing table. Now, after constructing predictive parsing table, you can see the entries. See, all entries should be only single production. Now here you can see E on ID, only one production. Then E on left branches, only one. E dash on plus, only one production. Like you can see all the entries, whichever filled with productions, all are single productions only. You can't see the blank entries, only consider wherever the productions are added. So therefore, in this table, so all entries contains a single production. All entries contains a single production. Therefore, the CFG G given in this example is LL1 grammar. So once you know the construction of predictive parsing table, then that is very simple. By seeing the entries in the table, if all entries are single, then you can say the given grammar is LL1 grammar. So like that, we can conclude. Suppose if multiple entries are there, even at least one entry, if it contains more than one production, then we can say the grammar is not LL1. Compulsory, every entry must and should contain a single production. So therefore, now in predictive parsing table, if there are no multiple entries, then the grammar is said to be LL1 grammar. If multiple entries are present in the parsing table, then the grammar is not LL1. The predictive parser accepts only the language generated from LL1 grammar. Now in LL1 parsing technique or predictive parsing, so if we are having two or more alternative productions, then the predictive parser, also called as LL1 parser, which chooses the correct production by guessing using one or more lookahead token. That means here, suppose here we are having E dash derives plus TE dash, then E dash derives null. So here two or more alternative productions are there. So the predictive parser now onwards will also called as LL1 parser, except if there are no multiple entries in the table. So now which chooses the correct production by guessing using one look ahead token. There is one input symbol. So that is the another advantages of LL1 grammar with respect to predictive parser. So now here some of the following grammars are not LL1 grammars. So what type of grammars are not LL1 grammars? Let us see here. The following grammars are not LL1 grammars. Any ambiguous grammar is not LL1, that we already discussed. In predictive parser itself, ambiguity is not allowed. Then left recursive grammar is not LL1. Then the grammar which is not left factored, that means if two or more alternative productions having common prefix, then that is non-left factored. So in this case, the grammar is not LL1. Then in the table, the grammar that results in multiple entries in the parsing table is also not LL1. So these are all some of the examples which are not LL1 grammars. Then one more problem. So the same question we have given for predictive parsing table also, first and follow also. So the question will be given like this. Now see, construct the predictive parsing table for the following grammar. So S derives ICTS or ICTS ES or A or C derives B. And also the continuation of the question is the grammar LL1? So how to test this one? Here you can see the steps you need to follow in this problem. Steps 1, first remove left recursion, then ambiguity, and non-left factored. In the given grammar, if contains any of this, remove all this. Then compute first and follow values. Next, construct predictive parsing table. Predictive parsing table. Then last one, check LL1 or not by using the condition. These are all the steps we have to follow to check whether a given grammar is LL1 or not. So now here I have given the partial solution. The given grammar is S derives ICTS so and so. The grammar is non-left factored, so eliminating using left factoring. The resultant grammar after applying left factoring is given below. So now here see, after removing non-left factoring, so this is the resultant grammar. S derives ICTS, S dash or terminal A, then S dash derives null or yes, then C derives B. Now you can check this grammar doesn't have ambiguity, left recursion, then this is left factored grammar. Now for this, the step 1 is over. Then step 2, what you have to do, you can find out first and follow values. So directly I have taken first and follow values. Now you can find as per the rules what we discussed. Now yes, S dash C are the variables. Then first of all these variables are given. Then follow values also given. Now second step is also over. Then third step, what you have to do, construction of predictive parsing table. Just now we discussed the process. Now the predictive parsing table is also given here. Now here you can see the entry S dash on E. Here you can observe here 2 productions are there. So that means 2 entries. That means in one entry more than one production is there, means this is not LL1 grammar. So now you can see from this conclusion. So the predictive parsing table shown below, the entry you can observe M of S dash on E, here highlighted in yellow color, contains 2 entries. That means 2 productions. So the given grammar is not LL1. The question is the given grammar LL1 or not? So the conclusion is the given grammar is not LL1 because in the predictive parsing table obtained for the given grammar contains multiple entries on S dash on E. Even one entry contains multiple entries. So the grammar is not LL1. So like that you can check the grammar is LL1 or not. So this is a very important question. Now you can see all these are dependent to previous topics. So LL1 is depending on predictive parsing table construction. Predictive parsing table is depending on construction of first and follow values. So like that you can see all are prerequisites. So every topic you need to follow. So once you can know the construction of LL1, then all will be covered. So then another practice problem given. This is one of the previous question taken recently from the exam, March, April 2021, JNTH question paper. The question is given like this: test whether the grammar is LL1 or not and construct a predictive parsing table for it. So this is the grammar with SAB, the productions are given. So all the 4 steps we have to follow. First you can check left recursion is there, ambiguity is there, non-left factor is there. If so, you can remove all this. Then step 2, you can find out first and follow values. Then step 3, you can construct predictive parsing table. Then step 4, you can conclude. By seeing the entries in the table whether it is predictive parser or not. Then another problem, verify whether the following grammar is LL1 or not. This is May 2019 question. So this question with different productions we already discussed. So you can practice these 2 problems. So then moving to the last topic in this lecture, error recovery in predictive parsing. So then we already discussed in top-down parser various error recovery mechanisms. Then In predictive parser also, how to handle error recovery. Here you can see. An error is detected during predictive parsing when the following two situations occur. The first condition is the terminal on the top of the stack. The terminal on top of the stack does not match with the next input symbol. So now here you can see, here you can take this is stack. Now this is input. So now here a terminal on top of the stack is not matching with the input symbol. Here you can see both are not equal. In this case, error occurred. Then second case, when a non-terminal A is on top of the stack. So here a non-terminal A is on top of the stack. Then small a is the next input symbol. So in the input buffer, then the entry M of the variable A comma terminal A has a blank entry. Now in the previous two examples, the predictive parsing table, so many blank entries are there. So all blank entries denote an error. These are the two cases where errors are occurred. Now how to handle these type of errors in predictive parser? Now by calling some of the error recovery strategies. So the error recovery is done using panic mode and phrase level recovery. So these two methods we already discussed during starting of top-down parsing. So these two methods we already covered, panic mode and phrase level recovery. Now by applying these methods in predictive parser, so how error recovery is done, we will see. First, by using panic mode recovery. So in this approach, error recovery is done by skipping symbols from the input until a token matches with the synchronizing tokens. So previously we mentioned if the top of the stack contains a terminal, then that is not matching with the input symbol, then error occurred. At that time, what you have to do, you have to skip the input symbol until a input symbol matching with the top of the stack. So that is called as synchronizing tokens. The synchronizing tokens are selected such that the parser should quickly recover from the errors that are likely to occur in practice. Some of the recovery techniques used in panic mode recovery are shown below. So the first one is, for a non-terminal capital A, consider the symbols in fall of A. So let us take a non-terminal A which is on top of the stack. You can find out follow values of that non-terminal. These symbols can be considered as synchronizing tokens and are added into parsing table, replacing only blank entries. Now, whenever there is a mismatch, keep skipping the tokens till we get one of the synchronizing character. That means in the fall of A, any matching character is occurred, and remove the variable A from the stack. It is likely that parsing can continue, but this is not complete solution. Just temporarily parsing can be continued, but later the programmers can overcome these errors. So now the second technique used in panic mode recovery, for same non-terminal A, consider the symbols in first of A. Previously we considered follow values, now you can consider first values. These symbols can be considered synchronizing characters and add to the parsing table, replacing only blank entries. Now whenever there is a mismatch, keep skipping the tokens till we get one of the synchronizing character and remove the variable A from the stack. It is also likely that parsing can continue. So by finding follow values of that variable, then first values of that variable, then the respective entries by blank entries by adding synchronizing token. Then the third method, if a terminal is on the top of the stack, cannot match it with input, then what you have to do, you have to pop the terminal from the stack and issue error message and insert the corresponding terminal and continue parsing. The corresponding terminal occurred in the production that can be inserted. So further continuous parsing. So these are all the three methodologies used in panic mode recovery. So for error recovery in predictive parsing. So then coming to second one, phrase level recovery. So this phrase level recovery method is implemented by filling the blank entries in the predictive parsing table with pointers to error routines. So by adding pointers to error routines, these routines may be change, insert, replace, or delete symbols from the input and issue appropriate error messages. So this phrase level recovery is nothing but simply by changing, by inserting, by replacing, or deleting symbols from the input and issue an appropriate error message. Then they may also pop from the stack finally. So these are all the phrase level recovery methodologies. Now let us consider one example how this error recovery is done in predictive parser. So consider the same example what we discussed. Consider the following grammar: e dash t dash e dash dash plus t dash or null, so and so. So this we already constructed predictive parsing table for this. So how to do the error recovery means, and the predictive parsing table first we have to construct. So directly here I am taking the predictive parsing table. So this is the predictive parsing table where we constructed previously. Now all the blank entries. So by considering a particular symbol, non-terminal variable, you can find out first and follow values. Then their respective positions. You can add that synchronizing token. Then you can do the parsing. Now add the synchronizing tokens for the above parsing table and show the sequence of moves made by the parser for the string. So the sequence of moves made by the parser, this problem we discussed at the starting of the predictive parser, working of the predictive parser with one algorithm, sequence of moves made by the parser for id plus id into id for that string we demonstrated. Same process now we will use here. Now the string is different here, right parenthesis id into plus id. For this string, now we can do the parsing by adding synchronizing tokens in the parsing table. So now for adding synchronizing tokens, first we need to consider some non-terminals or variables. You can find out first and follow values of those non-terminal. The synchronizing characters are the characters present in first or follow sets of each non-terminal. In this example, let us add synchronizing characters by considering follow of each non-terminal, then replacing each blank entry in the parsing table. So now let us see here. So here I have taken the follow values from where we constructed previously. So now these are all the follow values for E, E dash, T, T dash, F. Now you can see. Now let us consider follow of E equal to what we have dollar right parenthesis. So the entries in the table M of E on dollar, then M of E on right parenthesis. So if already production is there, no problem. If no production is there, what you have to do? You can add a synchronizing token by using the phrase SYNCH, nothing but synchronizing token, only for blank entries. Now you can check all these entries. If any entry is blank, you can add SYNCH. Similarly, for a follow of F plus star dollar right parenthesis, you can check all the entries. So wherever the blank entries are there, you can add the synchronizing token by including the phrase SYNCH. Similarly, follow of T. So now here we considered ETF, let us assume. So now by adding the synchronizing tokens, let us see the table, modified table. Now here you can see. So first E on right parenthesis previously blank. Now synchronizing token is added. Then E on dollar previously it is blank. Now synchronizing token is added. Now you can see the entries. So here E on dollar, E on right parenthesis. Previously here you can see E on dollar, E on right parenthesis, blank entries. Now synchronizing tokens are added. So like all the entries, whatever the follow values we considered, now synchronizing tokens are added. Now you can do the parsing as it is in predictive parser, but wherever in the process of parsing right parenthesis occurred in the input symbol, then what you have to do means sync. Then what you have to do, error is occurred, then you have to skip that input symbol, then moves to the next input symbol. That is the only thing we have to do. Now let us see the parsing. Now the sequence of moves made by the parser for the string right parenthesis id into plus id is shown below. So the same table we have taken. So wherever the sync is occurred, then see the action. Here stack we have to consider capital X input small a, then output you can see the table entry M of variable a comma terminal a. Then action. Action means push or pop or matching as per the parsing algorithm. So here first we have to take stack with end marker dollar followed by starting variable. In the given grammar, E is the starting variable. Then the input you can take whatever the string, then that can be ended with dollar. So this is the input. Now see the entry first, E right branches. So stack contains the non-terminal E, then input is right branches. So both are not matching, but that too E is a variable or non-terminal. Then what you have to do, you can consult the entry in the parsing table, M of E on right branches. Now you can see the latest parsing table after adding synchronization. So E on right branches, see what we are having sync. So that is synchronizing token. That means what you have to do. So whenever synchronizing token is there, error, what you have to do, skip the input symbol simply. Skip means you have to remove. So remove the current input symbol right branches from the input. Now this can be removed. Then the remaining input is ID into plus ID dollar. So then there is no change in stack. Now E on ID, you can see the entry, it contains a production, E dash T dash. So you have to pop E and push T dash in reverse. Remaining, the process is same, where we discussed working of the predictive parser. Now E is substituted T dash in reverse. Now E dash T. Now T on ID again we contain having a production T dash FT dash. So you have to pop T, then push FT dash in reverse. Then the stack becomes T dash F. The input remains same. Now F you can substitute ID. So then pop F and push ID. Then ID is substituted. Now ID is matching with the input symbol. So match ID. So you have to pop ID in both. Then increment input pointer. So then the stack becomes E dash T dash. The remaining input is star plus ID dollar. Now again you can check T dash on star. We have production star FT dash. So pop T dash, then push star FT dash in reverse. Then this will become T dash F star. Now the current top contains star. The input is also star. So matching. Match star means pop star and increment input pointer. Then the stack becomes dollar E dash T dash F. Now the remaining input is plus ID dollar. Again you can see F1 plus. You can see the entry F1 plus in the table. See F1 plus we are having synchronizing token. That means error. Then what you have to do? We have to skip. So now F1 plus the entry contains error means synchronizing token. Error skip plus means you have to pop plus from the input. Then the remaining input there is no change on stack. So only input is changed. So now the remaining input is ID dollar. Now F1 ID we are having the production. So now ID is pushed onto the stack by removing F from the stack. Now ID is inserted. Then ID input is also ID matching. Then what you have to do? Pop ID increment input pointer. So then the stack is dollar E dash T dash. Now the input dollar. Now T dash and dollar we are having the production T dash directional. Then what you have to do? Remove T dash from the stack. But there is no action in input. Why? Because input is empty now. So now T dash is removed. Then finally E dash dollar. Again we are having E dash dollar null. Null production is there. So remove E dash from the stack. Then the stack becomes dollar. Then input is dollar. So here both X, the terminal A equal to dollar. As for the parsing algorithm step 1, if X equal to A equal to dollar, that means the top of the stack and the input is empty and that is equal to dollar. Then the output is accept. So parsing successfully completed. So observe that here the parsing is successful and the parser has also recognized 2 errors. By looking at these errors, if the programmer corrects the program, parsing action is successful without any error. That is the latter process. So that is the error recovery in predictive parser. Now coming to summary of this lecture. So this is the last part of predictive parser. Here what we discussed: predictive parsing table construction, then LL1 grammar, then error recovery in predictive parsing. For this, the reference is AHO2 section 4.4.3 and 4.4.5. So till now, our top-down parsing is completed. So we discussed one of the technique, recursive descent parser, with and without backtracking. Then the second technique is predictive parser. Then next lecture, we will start with a new topic. That is the second type of parser, which is called as bottom-up parsing. Now I stop here.